and then something bad happens. A lot of the times we live our lives and we think, why would God allow us to hurt? Why would he allow us to feel pain? Why would he allow us to suffer? And that's one of the tenets of what Living Thorn is about, and what I and others are trying to do, and communicate this truth that God loves. And allowing someone to hurt does not seem like love. But as the story of Elijah continues, this widow and son, he joins into the upper room and lodges there and lives there. And God provides a miracle of oil and flour to sustain them for such a long time that no one really can predict. But then one day, this is all taking place in verse 17 through 24 of 1 Kings chapter 7. The son stops to breathe and dies, for all intents and purposes. Modern medicine could maybe communicate something a little bit different, but by word of God's scriptures, the child is not breathing and not anymore. And so the widow comes to Elijah and is crying out, why are you your God? Why is he allowing this to happen? Why is he allowing me to hurt in such a way? And Elijah has to come to terms with this, and very calmly and collected, he takes the son up to his room and sets him down, and then just weeps and sobs and cries out to God, not publicly, not for attention, but on his own in his secret, and commits himself to God's faith and his love, but cries out, why are you allowing this to happen? A lot of the times I just accept what's going on and I listen for what God has to say through it. But maybe it's good and healthy to cry out, because it means I care. It means that this is meaningful. It's worthwhile. That something is worth living for. And so God performs a miracle. He allows the son to be revived, and he comes back down. Elijah comes back down with the son and returns to the widow. And the widow truly believes now that this God that Elijah serves is the God that she should, and is the real God. And it's a simple truth of how we live in such a way, and yet we don't live for God. But when his truth is needed and his provision is needed in moments of suffering, we turn to him, and not at any other time. We don't come to him for all things. We come to him for what we want. And that needs to be a change in mine and potentially your life. But I think the biggest lesson for me here, and I can only speak for me, is that God allows the widow to hurt, allows Elijah to suffer emotionally, for both of their hearts to break before he mends them back together, and their love and compassion and community grows exponentially. We reject the pain, we reject the hurt, but God does something amazing with it. He allows us to come back stronger and better and renewed in a way that we can't comprehend. Take the time to embrace the thorn, to embrace that pain that God has given you, and embrace what that means, and how that faith can impact others, and how that submission of self, not publicly but privately, not saying you can't do it publicly, but to live godlike when no one's looking first, and then allow that to permeate from there. Have a great week, and love others just like Christ loved us, and embrace that thorn so that you can share that truth that God allows us to hurt so we can love and grow and become even more like Christ. Have a great week.